Now we will be doing combined radical operations. That means multiplication, division, but also with addition and subtraction. So we're doing kind of everything together. In fact, after we've done usually the multiplication and the addition, we get to a point where we need to now simplify. So it actually is basically everything. So the very first one here, we need to multiply this square root of 3 by the square root of 2 minus 7. The only way to do that is to expand it in. So we need to multiply. So root 3 times root 2. Now those are both inside numbers. So root 3 times root 2, 3 times 2 on the inside, that's going to be 6. Then we're going to have the second part, which is a minus. There's a root 3 and a 7. Now one of those is outside, that's a 7, and one of those is inside, 3. And we can't do anything about it, so we just leave it. 7 on the outside, 3 on the inside. And now I just take a look, can I simplify anything here? The 6 can break down to a 2 and a 3. There's no pairs, so I don't have that. And the 3 is as far as it'll go. So that's my final answer. I find that these ones are actually the most complicated because we've got the square root symbol and then just a whole number there without a square root symbol. So I'm going to do that again. Root 3 times root 2. So we're going to multiply. First, we're going to foil. We like to use that word. We're not really foiling here, but we are going to do that. We're going to bring this root 3 in with this root 2. Again, those are both inside numbers. They're inside the radical sign, so we're going to multiply them together to get 3 times 2 is 6, so the square root of 6. Then we're going to do this, root 3 times 7, and it's going to be negative. Again, root 3 times 7, there's one with on the outside, the 7 there is no square root symbol, and one here where there only is a square root symbol. So we're going to go 7 square root 3. We can't combine them in any way. We're not at square root 21. It's just the 7's on the outside, the 3's on the inside, and then that's our final answer. So here we go again for B. We have root 2 times root 2, and it's negative. So we're going to multiply that one first. Well, it's negative, so I'll put a negative. Root 2 times root 2, they're both inside numbers, so I can write the inside numbers together. 2 times 2 is 4. Then I can do this one. Negative times negative will be a positive. And root 2 and root 3, those are both inside numbers. 2 and 3 will get me a 6, so I'll put a 6 on the inside. Now I do know the square root of 4 is just 2, so I'm going to write that as negative 2. This is 2. And then 6, which we did before, that's a 3 and a 2. I can't find any pairs, so it stays plus root 6. All right, let's look at C here. Root 6 times root 2, do that. Those are both inside, so we'll multiply them in. 6 and 2 is 12. Then we'll go here. Again, those are both inside numbers. It's a 6 and a 3, and it's negative. So 6 times 3 is 18, so 18 then. And lastly, root 6 and root 6. Those are both inside numbers. Root 6 and root 6 is a 36. Now I need to break these up. These can, I think, almost all be simplified. 12 is 6 and 2, or 4 and 3. 2 and 2, bring down the 3. So there's a pair of 2's. Oh, that was a terrible circle. A pair of 2's that can come out. So the 2 comes out in front and the 3 is left over. 18 can go into 6 and 3 or 9 and 2. That up. So the pair of 3's, well, that can come out in front. The minus sign already there. But the 3, I can take the 3 out and I'm left with a 2. And the square root of 36, well, square root of 36 is just 6. And none of them are alike. So I have a square root of 3, a square root of 2. I can't combine them because they're different radicals, and then I've got a whole number of. So that is my final answer. So those are my 3, A, B, and C. Okay, so let's try to get maybe slightly more complicated. So first we'll go here. 4 root 3 times 3 root 2. Well, the outside numbers are 4 and 3, so that gets me a 12. And the inside numbers are the 3 and the 2, that gets me a 6. Next, I have a negative symbol, and I got a 4, and I got a 2. So 4 and 2 will get me an 8, and the inside numbers are a 3 and get me 9. Now I'm looking to simplify that. So 6 is going to be 3 and 2. And there's no pairs there, so I can't do anything with it. So it just stays 12 square root 6. Minus 8 square root of 9 is just 3. So I've got 12 root 6 minus 8 times 3 is 20. And I've got a square root 6 and no square root here, so I have no like terms. Therefore, I just leave it as it is, my final answer. Let's go to E here. Our outside numbers are 3 and 2. 3 times 2 is 6. My inside numbers are 6 times 2, which is a 12. Then I've expand that in. So my outside numbers here are the 5. So it's going to be 15, but negative, because I guess there's a negative symbol there. And the inside is going to be a 6 and a 3. So 6 and 3 get me 18. So now I'm going to have to split this up. So I'll get 12 as 4 and 3, 2, 2 and 3. 18 is 9 and 2, 2. So for the 12, I have a pair of 2's that I can take out. So the 2 comes out. There's already a 6 there, so 2 times 6 is 12. And there's a 3 right here remaining, so I'll put that down. And then 18, there's a 3 here, so that can come out, but there's already a 15. 3 times 15, 45, and there's just a 2 left over. These are not alike, 3 and 2, so we have to keep them separated. We can't join them, so that's my answer. Next, I've got this, negative 2 root 2 times root 2. Now, this already is quite complicated because there's just so many 2's. But if I'm looking at this one here, if I'm looking at multiplying these together, I have an outside number of negative 2 and no outside number here. So all I have is an outside number of 2. And then the inside numbers, there's a 2 here and a 2 here. 2 times 2 is 4. Next, I can take a look at this one. So these multiply. So my outsides are negative 2 and negative 4. That multiplies to positive 8. The inside is a 2 and a 3. So 2 times 3 is 6. Lastly, that. So my outside number is a negative 2 and a 5, which is negative 10. And then 2 times 6, which is 12. Now I can simplify this a little bit. I've got a negative 2, square root of 4 is just 2. So that part I'll have to multiply. The 6, I can break that up into 3 and 2, but there's no pairs there, so not really anything I can do. So I'll leave that as a 8 root 6. Then I've got 10 and 12. 12 is a 4, 3. And a 4 and a 3. A 4 can split up to 2 and 2. There's a 3 there. So I can take a pair of 2's out. And there's a pair of 2's, but there's already a 10. So the 2 times the 10 will be 20. And then there's a 3 remaining. Put a remaining. Now what I need to do is I've got a negative 2 and a 2. That multiplies to be negative 4. The 8 root 6, well, that's just going to be 8 root 6. And the negative 20 square root 3. Now, none of these have the exact same radical. This is a radical of 3, this is a radical of 6, and this doesn't have any, so I can't actually add or subtract them. So it just is that. So that is the D, E, and F.